today we got a small little meal we're making. I think this is a little bit more than a small little meal. We're going to be making up a full meal. We're going to be making ourselves a stuffed pork loin. We're going to be stuffing this with a homemade apple stuffing. That's hence our bread and apples and raisin over here. We're also going to cook up some fresh turnip greens and bake ourselves a couple of sweet potatoes. Stay tuned. You're going to love it.
I can't wait.
We're going to begin by cleaning our turnip greens. Now, these can be very sandy and dirty, so we're going to rinse each individual leaf, and I like to remove the stems from our turnip greens. Now, some people prefer to keep them in, but they can be tough. So for us, we're going to remove our stems and only keep the leafy part. I have a large pot. Inside the pot, I placed about a teaspoon or so of just canola oil in here that we have heated up. I've taken one large onion and just sliced it up. I'm going to throw that in. I have one large turnip that I cut up into cubes.
Just try cutting me up.
These have been sauteing for just a few minutes. We're next going to take, I have one package of smoked pork necks that I picked up from the supermarket. We're going to throw these in. We're just going to cook this up a few minutes. We're going to add, I have 5 garlic cloves that I minced up real fine. I have 1 cup of brown sugar. We'll mix this up. I'm going to take a half a teaspoon of liquid smoke. This is hickory liquid smoke. I'm going to add a half a cup of our enormous piquet hot sauce. A half a cup of apple cider vinegar. Here I have 2 bunches of our turnip greens that we've cleaned, pulled the stems, and chopped into pieces. Next, I have 3 tablespoons of our Eat More chicken rub. Now, I'm going to take 1 gallon of water. With our water added, we're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to boil these turnip greens for about 5 hours. If our water gets too low, simply add some additional water. We want to keep this boiling throughout that whole entire time. After our 5 hours has passed, we will return. Let's prep the pork that we're going to use for this meal. Now, I have not only a boneless pork loin, I've got 2 thick cut pork chops. Now, the pork loin, we butterflied it open, made it nice and even. I also have done the same for our pork chops. I've sliced these open. We're next going to season this meat with 2 of our rubs. We're going to use our all-purpose SPG.
Delicious, so delicious.
And our apple spice barbecue rub. We're going to season all sides nice and thoroughly. With our meat thoroughly seasoned on all sides, we are now going to place this in our refrigerator until we're ready for it. But we're going to allow the flavors to get into this meat. So we're going to give it at least 2 hours of time before we begin cooking this. I'm going to show you how to create the stuffing for our pork. I have a large pot. I have 6 tablespoons of salted butter. We're going to melt our butter. Now that our butter is melted, I have 1 large onion that we've diced up finely. I have 2 stalks of celery that we diced up finely. We're going to saute these until they're a little translucent and tender. Next, I have 3 garlic cloves that I finely minced. I have 1 teaspoon of dry sage. I have 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme. I have 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary that we chopped up finely. Here I have 1 teaspoon of a lime pepper mix. It's from a spice company body that sells this. They also sell an orange version, which you could use as well. Now I have a cup and a half of some cooked down apples and raisins. Let me show you how we made this. I have a pot in front of me that I've started to warm up. I have 6 tablespoons of salted butter. We're going to melt this butter. With our butter melted, I have 4 Granny Smith apples that I added 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice, mixed it in with these apples, and diced these up into cubes. I have 1/2 cup of raisins. I have 1/4 cup of our apple spice barbecue rub.
Eat me every day to keep the doctor away.
We will allow this to cook several minutes. We've had our apples cooking on the stovetop about 10 minutes. I have a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of white sugar. We're going to add in. We're going to mix this up. We're going to continue cooking these until our apples are good and tender. We're going to mix this all together. We're going to give this about a minute to saute. Then we're going to turn the heat off and let this mixture cool down. Now that our apple mixture has cooled down, we are going to take 1 egg that we've beaten.
You're a rotten egg.
Pour it in with our mixture. Stir it in. Then we're going to take 1 roll that we had in the beginning of the video that we just cubed up into chunks. We're going to take our mixture and pour it in and mix this up real well. With this thoroughly mixed, we'll place this to the side to use for our stuffing for our pork. What we have left over, we'll place in a separate casserole dish to bake. In front of me, I have the bacon that we had in the beginning of the video. What I did is I made a bacon weave. Now, you can simply go online and there are tutorials that will teach you how to create this bacon weave. We are next going to place our pork loin onto our bacon weave. Now we're going to grab some of that stuffing mix that we made. Next, we're going to roll up our pork roast nice and tight. With our pork roast rolled up good and tight, we're going to place this back in the refrigerator for about an hour to allow this to hold its shape. Now we have our pork chops. We're going to simply grab some of our stuffing mix, place that into the center of these, and we're going to take some toothpicks to help hold this closed. Now, as for the little bit of stuffing we have left over, we're going to place this into a buttered casserole dish. Spread this out evenly, and we'll throw this in our oven to bake this. Let's get this ready to put out onto our smoker. We have our smoker set at 225 degrees. We are going to cook these until we hit an internal temperature of 145. Our pork chops have hit 145 degrees. We're going to pull these off of our smoker, bring them in the house. We're next going to bump the temperature up to 400 degrees. Our pork roast is only at 120 degrees currently. We're going to bump up the temperature so that we can also crisp up our bacon a little bit. Once it hits 145, we'll take this off and we'll serve it up. Our apple stuffing has finished cooking. We had it in an oven at 375 degrees for 40 minutes. We'll now get this ready for plating up as well. Our turnip greens have been cooking about 5 hours, and we have not added any additional water. We just used our 1 gallon. These have reduced down to exactly where we would like these. We are going to shut this down and get this ready to be served with our main dish. Our meal is complete.
Yeah! Yeah!
We have everything out on our table so that we can start chowing down. We've got our baked potatoes that we didn't show on camera, but we just simply baked them. We have some slices of butter, and we have a little bowl full of the extra apple filling that we had left over to add to those sweet potatoes. We have our turnip greens, our stuffing, our pork chops, and our pork roast. This is going to be absolutely delicious, as always. We truly thank each and every one of you guys for joining us here at TNTspices. please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, to each and every one of you guys out there, God bless you.